We thought it would, working at Women for Refugee Women, we thought the hostile environment, Theresa May, were the worst thing ever. But we felt that worse was coming because, and then I thought, oh God, I'm fed up of this sort of writing, having to write about myself all the time. You know, what women journalists are expected to just kind of go, my funny old life.
No, that's
I
right.
was doing it.
Look at my funny, terrible children. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got a lot of that.
Which we all fall into. And I think my kids were like, enough. We had about 100 women coming in every week. People would come straight from detention centre being released and tell us their story in the Congo. And it was very hardcore.
Wow. Yeah, really hardcore.
Yeah, and it was like just us. So we had to deal with people's distress here and that they escaped here and then they were treated like shit.
Was it a transformative experience? Did you come out of it feeling something? Was it moving?
Well, out of that, no. So when I say look after you, it's like I'd sit down and he'd put a cushion under me. He'd make me fires, he'd cook for me. He just spent his whole time looking after me for a week. And sort of right at the end, he said, should we just fuck each other's brains out?
Hello and welcome to How to Have Extraordinary Relationships with me, Lucy Cavendish. Today, I'm really delighted and thrilled to be with the author and United Nations Association's campaigner and activist, and she's an activist, Sophie Radice. We've known each other for a really long time, but we haven't seen each other very much for many, 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 many years.
I mean, you used to live around the corner and we saw each other a lot.
Yeah, we saw each other in Kentish Town. We had small children who are now grown-ups, like properly
35.
grown up. Yeah, properly grown up. Sophie's latest book is The Year of Bad Maps. I'm going to show you all this.
Hey!
Yeah, which you've signed for me.
There it is. Very shiny.
Very shiny.
I wasn't sure about that.
It's great. So we've come back into each other's lives and we're going to talk about the book, but we're going to talk about what's behind the book. So just tell us. So I want to start with you because this is a book about a woman who's also got a name, Kate Mancini, slightly like your name, who goes off on a, what would it be called? What does she go off on? And tell me how that relates to you.
She goes off on a year off, which is a fictionalized account of me. I actually took a year out of work at 52. I was jealous of my kids because they'd done the year off traveling. And when I was 18, I went to Florence. I was very unadventurous for some reason.
I think
it was my mum.
Touchly, but there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. But yes, so I went off and I went around 10 countries and I really wanted to write about it, but I didn't want to write about it from a late middle-aged woman traveling the world's point of view. I was interested in the heads of the people I met that guided me. So I've written from their point of view, which I know is, you know, it sounds like it wouldn't work, but I think it has because I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting to know those people and being those people, though they're an amalgamation of people, I just have to say. But then when I came back, this is in real life, I almost immediately went back to work, going to Calais. This was the day of demolition. And I'd taken the Telegraph. God, should I be saying all this?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah.
Taken the Telegraph and...
What do you mean? You mean as a journalist, you were writing about it? You're taking a photographer?
No, because I was working for Women for Refugee Women and it was a real coup to take a right-wing newspaper to the day of demolition.
Yeah.
So anyway, I can't say any more about that because it ended up with me and 2 Afghani women being arrested. But because it is their story as well and it's a legal thing, I obviously had to fictionalize it. And so it was me coming back going, oh my God, the world is incredible. You know, you can travel around and you can meet loads of people and I can do anything. So I was in a sort of hubristic, I was just like, wow, I may be 50, but I was 53 by then. I may be 53, but I can do this. It was incredible. I'd had love affairs. I'd become best friends with different people. And then it was all taken away because, it was a really serious court case. And actually being arrested for that sort of immigration thing is now life if you're the driver. So then I was looking at being sent down for 5 years.
Jesus.
Um, so yeah, it took 2 years for the court case to come to court. But I write about that from the woman's point of view
Yes,
because I considered writing it about it from the other women that I was tried with point of view, and I thought, no, I can't do that. That's their story. I
that's their
can't do that.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was trying to weave those two things together, which actually I found really, really difficult. But I think I've managed it. And so it's the contrast between traveling and being, hey, this is so romantic, this is so adventurous. And the women I worked with who were traveling because they had to save their lives and their families' lives. And they were regarded as criminals. And, in the Kent court, obviously the good people of Kent are absolutely the worst people to be tried for something like that. And
Mm.
because they've got so much of that to deal with.
They're kind of on the front line, I guess.
They're kind of on the front line. But then it was 2016, which is when the book's set. People had not started to come by boat yet. So
Okay.
because they'd crossed the Med, it was seen as absolutely, they really didn't want to do it again because people had lost their lives and it was so frightening. And so people were getting in between lorries and in boots of cars. So it was just before, and we thought it would working at Women for Refugee Women. We thought the hostile environment, Theresa May, were the worst thing ever. But we felt that worse was coming because
Mm.
when people started coming by boat, that was the perfect thing for the right wing because it was such a symbol of invasion in the very old style, like they're coming by boat.
Yes.
Um, and people escaping war, which for the most part, because I knew Calais, they were people escaping war. They're people from
Mm.
Syria, Afghanistan, Eritrea, and Iran. And, it became such an easy political tool. And now at the moment, reforms say if they get in, anyone that has helped a refugee in any sort of way will face criminal charges. So it's really, and the Labour Party have taken that rhetoric, which has really shocked me and
Mm.
made me leave the Labour Party. And as you know, my family are Labour and my dad was a Labour politician. So
Yeah.
it is a political book, but it's not a polemic, it's funny. And
So
the story.
there's so many things I want to ask. Let's put the book here because I really, really enjoyed it. So I really want to say, um, it's a really incredible feat. I will talk about the book now. To be able to write in so many other people's voices convincingly.
Oh, thank you.
I was totally convinced by it. There wasn't any part of me that thought, "Oh, that's Sophie writing." I was really with it. And I
Oh,
found it
good.
really interesting because I haven't been to those parts of the world. I've been to India. So you're in India, where else does the book go? It goes all over the place, doesn't it?
Goes, Vietnam,
Mm.
Philippines. I mean, I
It's
could have
anywhere.
almost written totally in India because obviously, it's so amazing and you meet
Yes.
so many incredible people. Yeah, Japan, Philippines, India, Vietnam. There were a couple of chapters that I wrote that my daughter made me take out because she thought that they weren't convincing.
Okay, great.
So
You had a reader. That was your daughter Ella.
my daughter Ella, who I absolutely trust because she's amazing.
Yeah,
So
that's amazing. Because
yeah,
it's
she went,
really
"No,
convincing.
take those out."
You know, because when you're in India, the characters in India with Geeta. Anyway, I don't want to spoil it for people.
I
It's
love
very,
Peter.
yeah. Geeta is one of the most sort of likable characters. You just want to be, you know, hearing about her and experience life through her, and it's, you know, you're really into those characters, and you get a real sense of their lives, and that must be very hard, is it? Because you're not from there.
I know, I mean, it was audacious.
Mm,
I'm not from there, but I'm like you, I'm really, really interested in people, and, that's why I delighted in traveling, and I suppose the thing about me is I haven't really thought about this, but I get very close to people really quickly.
mm,
And I think Geeta recognizes that because the person that it's based on, we met and we just absolutely hit it off to the point where she was like, I don't know if I can stand you leaving. And we'd only sort of been together like 3 days or something. And so there was a real closeness, but she recognized in me that I can just go and
right.
then form an attachment with someone else, which I
Oh,
think I
that's interesting.
can.
That's interesting.
It is good, but it's also a bit weird as well.
Well,
And I
yeah.
think Geeta recognised that in me. She was a bit like, "You'll be all right. You'll go off and you'll become best friends with someone else now."
How did you feel when she said that? Because there's
I was
something
a bit like,
slightly damning in that.
yeah, I was a bit when she said that to me. I think it was the day I left. Yeah, I was a bit like, that sounds a bit weird, but it's true. Not that I don't have, great, very long lasting friendships, but
Mm.
I do. Maybe that's the thing about traveling. Maybe that's the beauty of traveling is that you can do that. You can, because you're not going to see them again. You can be very revealing and they can be very revealing to you. You can
Oh
really
yes,
expose
yes,
yourself.
that's right. Yes, that's you can. I got stuck in an airport once and heard someone's life story, and they heard my life story, and then we went in completely different ways and never heard from each other
And you
again.
felt really close to them.
Oh yeah, I
You're
felt like
like,
I
wow.
was married to him.
Yeah, that's exactly what it's like. And that is the beauty of traveling alone, which is it's really amazing because you don't have someone going, you're not like that. Or, you don't have someone pulling you back like you do when you travel with a partner. They're constantly not letting you just be totally free about what you think. So
With
it's great.
Geeta, when she said that, do you think she was trying to say, well, it's okay for you because you can leave and I can't leave? Because she's stuck, isn't she?
She is stuck, but I did get the feeling that she's such an amazing person that I felt that she would just do something about it, and I haven't stayed in touch with her. Why haven't I? I don't know. Maybe because I wrote about her or something. I don't know.
Mm.
I mean, it wasn't totally her because my daughter said something really weird to me. She went, "Next time you write, can it be totally fiction?" And I went, "Hello, I'm not a motorbike driver in Vietnam. Of course it's fiction. I don't know
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what they're thinking or how their life is. I just made it up."
Yes.
So that, she got a bit confused by it. I was like, I have met this person and they've inspired me to imagine what it might be like to, and that's the most interesting thing about writing, isn't it? It's that you can be anyone.
Yes, that's what's so bread take people anyway. But let's not. So you know I've known you for a long time. So you know you're working as a writer, as a journalist. You have your children Louis and Ella, who are
Well,
now
yeah,
going to
we
grow.
worked together. You were brilliant. You were a
Thank
brilliant
you,
editor.
thank you.
You
It's a
were so
long time
nice.
ago. But yeah, I'm always nice.
You
I was.
commissioned me great. You were brilliant to me.
Oh, thank
Thank
you.
you.
I was
Yeah.
trying, you know, single mother. I was like, let's give her some money, you know. You had Louis. Oh no, you went. I don't know. And then you had Ella, and they were little and tiny.
Yeah.
And at some point you get to 52 and you get this year off. So had you worked, and then, I mean, how did you get to the place where you
So
thought, "I'm going to pack up my rucksack and go"?
so I've been a journalist, as you know, and it had worked really well because, as you know, you can sort of work from home and that sort of thing. Um, and then I thought, "Oh god, I'm fed up of this sort of writing, having to write about myself all the time." You know, what women
Mm.
journalists are expected to just kind of go, "My funny old life, my."
No, that's
And I
right.
was
No,
doing
no,
it.
look at my funny, terrible children. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've got a
exactly,
lot of
and which
that.
we all fall into, and I think my kids were like, "Enough."
Yeah.
I think I wrote something about Ella, not Ella, but her, about drug taking and her age group, and she went, "Sorry, that's it. I no."
Yeah.
And I thought, "Well, yeah, you're right."
Yeah.
And also I'd known people who'd written so much about their kids, and it just seemed really exploitative and shit,
Mm, mm.
even though, you know. And then I decided I wanted to do something else, and I volunteered for Amnesty and did their individuals at risk, and they gave me really interesting work. And then I got the job at Women for Refugee Women, which at that point was very small, set up by Natasha Walter, and
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
it was just me and Marchu, who interviewed me on my launch, and she's the director of Migration Exchange now, and you know, very impressive. But at that point, we were colleagues and only about four of us, but we were very dynamic, and it was a really great time. You know, when you look back and you think, wow, that was
Yes,
incredible.
yes.
We managed to get policy change around detention
Wow.
and all sorts of things, mostly working, going to Yarl's Wood Detention Centre. So my life changed, but it was incredibly hectic. And we had about 100 women coming in every week. People would come straight from detention centre being released and tell us their story in the Congo. And it was very hardcore.
Wow. Yeah, really
And
hardcore.
yeah, and it was like just us. So we had to deal with people's distress here and that they'd escaped here and then they were treated like shit. Um, so it was kind of burnout, which I think we all suffered from. So when I said to Natasha, I want to go for a year, she was like, do it. That's fine.
Mm,
And
mm.
then I had my job at the end of it. But of course, pretty soon after I came back, I mean, really soon, the arrest happened and I resigned because I thought I can't work with women while this is hanging over me because it won't help them. If I'm sort of advocating for them and I'm actually, you know,
That's
got
you
this
banged
thing
up.
looming over me. So yeah, God, what was I saying? You were
Well,
just asking, yeah,
so
how I
you've got
got into it.
you know, you're doing this work. I mean, and you must be hearing, you know, and
No,
I'm not saying that we're going to this now, but I get very upset slash irate when people talk about those people are coming here, blah, blah. I just find it so in the pit
yeah, I mean, it's
appalling because I'm sure you've heard stories
appalling.
that are absolutely
Oh
dreadful.
yeah, I mean, yeah, and you'd get very. One woman that I went and visited in Yarl's Wood, she'd been a restaurant owner in East Congo, and because the rebels had eaten in her restaurant, she was taken to a rape house for 3 months. Because her dad had a bit of money, able to bribe her out of there, and she got on a. She didn't even know where she was going. She got on a plane and she arrived here. And you know, you arrive here, you don't know what to do. You're told to go to Luna House in Croydon, and it's horrific, Luna House. I can't tell you how bad it is, but you sort of arrive there and then they say, no, you have to call us up for an appointment. Anyway, so she had signs of no, I won't be too explicit, but she had signs of torture on her body. So I met her in Yarl's Wood. So she'd been taken straight into Yarl's Wood detention centre. So
Mm.
she was locked up again. And they didn't believe her, even though she had things of chains on her legs. So she was someone I worked with. And when she was finally released at detention centre, and there's great organisations that go in, like Medical Justice.
Mm.
When she came out, she didn't know where her kids were. So that became the thing, is like, where were her kids? Finding her kids with her. Like, were they still in the Congo? Were they taken somewhere else? And we found her kids,
Oh
and
my
they were
God.
able to come to England. But that's a really good example of, and practically everyone we worked with had come they didn't want to leave their country.
Yeah.
These were proud women that
Yes. Yeah.
loved Afghanistan, absolutely love Syria. I mean, they're such amazing countries.
Yes.
But they tended to be the wealthier people because they could bribe, they
Yeah.
could give money to go across there, but also, highly educated, but not able to work here, which was incredibly frustrating. So,
Mm.
I worked recently because I went back to Women for Refugee Women for a bit. And this woman from Sudan was a nuclear physicist and
Oh my
yet not
God.
allowed to work. So she used to come sort of on a Tuesday and
Wow. Of
just go,
course. Yeah.
please, I really want to use my
I'm a nuclear
brain.
physicist. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
So I mean, you do that. So of course, that's great work, but grueling. And then
it's so grueling.
grueling.
Yeah.
So you get this year off. So you're very brave, right? You pack your rucksack and think, I'm going to travel across the world as a solo woman.
I'm like you, I come from a big family. I've never even been alone, let alone traveled alone. And I was sitting on that. I was like, all right, I'll go to Goa and that will be a soft landing.
Yes.
But the guy sitting next to me on the flight out there was lovely, but he was an ex-Air India pilot in his 70s. And he was saying, you can't do it. He was like, no, Sophie, do you mind if I call you Sophie? You cannot travel on your own. This is not a good idea. And I was thinking, the way I do things is I just don't think about it. I
Mm,
dissociate
mm.
until I'm on the plane. And then I'm thinking, oh my God. And when I got to India, they lost my bloody horrible rucksack. So I was in the airport and it was like the only bit of luggage that had been lost.
Oh, don't. You're
And
sitting
I was like,
down
what?
and going round and round like,
Yeah. And you're
everyone
going,
else is like, yeah, there's my stuff. And you're like, oh.
exactly. And then I had to go and really fight and go, sorry, I don't believe mine is the only one that didn't come from Heathrow. And in the end, they said, oh, you will be happy, madam. We found it.
Oh, well done.
And and then it was Mumbai. And then the taxi driver didn't take me to my hotel. He drove me for some reason into, the corrugated iron houses. And yeah, I was just like, oh my God. And I really shouted at him saying, take me to my hotel. And then I phoned my daughter and kind of said, I don't know if I can do this. And she went, Mum, you survived this the first day. It's going to be fine. And of course it was. And I was in Goa for a couple of weeks and then sort of met weird 21-year-old English drug dealers. It was out of season. And they were like, just stay here,
Yeah, hi, man. And you're
And
like,
yeah, and
I
also
did
sort of,
that. I did that
yeah.
30
And
years
then,
ago, honey.
yeah, don't worry. And then I went in, I was like, no, enough of this. And I then went into Hampi and, Kerala and then went north and on the way I sort of like I met my parents because my family kind of insisted that they meet me at certain points, which was great,
Mm, mm,
but
mm. Oh, what's happened?
also slightly annoying because when you're traveling alone, you can just absolutely decide how long you wanna stay somewhere. You just don't even have to negotiate. So, it was very much me going, "Oh, where shall I go?" No plans at all. Like, "Oh, I think I'll go to Japan," or and I had no money. I was just renting out my house, so I went with an overdraft of, like, 7 grand, sort of came back with a slightly bigger overdraft. So it's not as if I had money to go, but I did rent out my house, like, every inch of that house.
Mm.
So, it was so freeing, and what was a bit dangerous about it is I thought, "Oh, I'll be satisfied by this," the sort of wanderlust,
Mm.
and no, I'm not. I'd love to do it again. Obviously, my parents you know, are elderly and I can't do it, but I would love to do that again.
What did you discover about yourself?
Um, I discovered that I could be alone and that I could just sort of stare across into the distance, and it was really great. Like, you'd have sort of daily epiphanies that you can't have when other people are there. You'd be like, "Oh, yeah."
Mm.
Um, and the sort of sense of humor, which I talked a bit about at launch, is like, that's how you connect with people. That's how when you come out of Delhi station sort of going, "Oh," that's how you connect with the tuk-tuk driver that's gonna be okay for you. You're like, it is about humor and sharing a humor, which I think Indians and British people share the same sense of humor.
Mm.
So that was really useful. And, if someone's funny and you share their humor, they're usually fairly okay people, you know.
I mean, what did you learn about humanity? Did you learn most people are basically kind, or did you think, oh my God, everyone's stealing everything from me?
Um, I not I felt that amongst the other travelers, most people don't listen to you. So if you met someone who was actually interested in you rather than waiting for you to stop speaking so they could say something, um, yeah, I learned that that was a sort of rare characteristic. I didn't feel, I mean, I totally understood that most people regarded me as a sort of walking dollar sign, and I came when I first was traveling, I was sort of slightly offended by that. Like, I am a person, I am not just a tourist.
Mm.
And then I started really accepting it. I was like, well, of course they do.
Mm.
And it was sort of up to me to break through that, not them.
Mm.
Um,
Interesting.
so yeah, but came back feeling really good about humanity, actually. But then, I was just dipping in and out of things. And I try to write about that a bit in the book, that,
Mhm.
I could be very opinionated, like the Japanese chapter. I was very opinionated about Japan. And I found Japan quite disturbing. Um, and, in the book, I'm very opinionated about Japanese attitudes towards women and stuff like that. And the Japanese girl sort of told me off a bit about that. Like, you don't really know. You've only been here a couple of days.
I've traveled a lot, as you know. And the one place I found very difficult was Japan. I
Oh,
found it really.
right.
I got there, and every single, every bone of my body was going, "You don't really fit in here." Not just because I'm, 5'7". I
Absolutely.
felt totally. That's not their fault,
Messy,
not my fault. I was just like, this is my
messy
yeah.
and big and
Yeah, it felt massive. I mean,
revolting.
yeah. I
Yeah.
just thought, what am I doing here? It was
Yeah.
really weird.
And also, the infantilization of women,
Mm.
which I
Mm.
noticed straight away. I was like, "What the hell's going on here?"
Yeah.
You know, why are you giggling so much at what he's saying? No one's that funny. Or the way people were dressed, women were dressed, I found so baffling. Like the childish clothes that were in shops for grown women. I thought, what does a woman of my age do?
Yes,
And
it's out of our I mean, I just thought this is out of my comfort zone. That's
absolutely,
not there, that's not, it's just interesting. The countries you go to and I'm like, "Oh, I completely feel fit in."
yeah,
And I
yeah.
didn't feel that there.
And actually, after Japan, I had to go to India. I thought I want people sort of sitting on my lap in the bus. I want people to be sort of interested in touching my hair. I was thinking it's very weird to be, I was constantly unwittingly breaking rules and stuff like that, and not even being told off, just being really disapproved of, which is the worst thing for me. I can't bear disapproval. It's awful.
Yeah, so there's a sort of air of that.
Yeah,
So obviously there's a trope, isn't there? There's the middle-aged woman, eat, pray,
yeah,
love, maybe single, maybe not so whatever, children grown up, who decides to go and travel around the world and find herself.
yeah. That's why I tried to do it from their point of view
Yeah,
rather
I
than me
wondered if
going, "Oh, this is, you know, India's so marvelous," and I'm really not like that as well. Like when I went to Varanasi, there were two brothers who said they were so kind to me, and they were from Varanasi, and they said to me I was on my last whatever it is before you go to Nirvana,
Mm,
and I was like, you really talking to the wrong person. Sorry, but they insisted that I went to some really famous temple, which I've forgotten. And before I did it, I had to go in the Ganges in Varanasi, which, if you've been there, is quite a thing
mm,
because it's very full of bodies and stuff. I
ooh.
had to go in it, and they had this massive golden urn that they put over me. And then I went to the temple, and they made me lie on this stone where Shiva had lain or something, and then poured milk all over me. And I was not only the only
I
Westerner,
hate
I
them.
was.
I absolutely hate milk because like my room 101 is if I was,
Really?
oh, I hate
Well, you
milk.
would have hated this.
Oh no, I hate
And I
that.
was the only woman, the only Westerner, and I was like lying there having milk poured over me. And I told them that I was like not religious, not into spiritual thing, sort of hated doing yoga. So for me, there was sort of none of that. But yeah, it is a cliche. And, but
Did you? Does it sound? Sorry, I'm you like them.
I haven't
Having
thought of
come
that
out
for
of, the
ages.
dead body Ganges and then having milk poured. Was it a transformative? Did you come out of it feeling something? Was it moving?
Well, out of that,
Hmm.
no,
Oh, it
no.
wasn't. It didn't come out.
No, I
Feeling
was
lightheaded.
laughing. I was absolutely hysterically laughing, of course. And no, I didn't. I mean, I suppose what I had is I had some transformative things like
Mm,
this is going to sound so cliched as well. I went to this mountaintop, which I write about from his point of view. I went to this mountaintop Indian hippie sort of commune place and was very pursued by this man who was 27 years younger than me. But he really taught me something because he was really rich and he was really spoilt. And he'd been told, I write about I'm in his head. Which is a bit weird because, yeah, I have sex with myself. So that is a bit weird.
mm.
Um,
Don't worry. Quite interesting, you know, I liked it. It was very sexy, so you're obviously good at
Oh,
it.
good. But he really actually really affected me because he had to learn how to look after someone, and he saw me and he just pursued me and he was like, I'm going to look after you. I was going, I haven't had that. So
Mm.
when I say look after you, it's like I'd sit down and he'd put a cushion under me. He'd make me fires, he'd cook for me. He just spent his whole time looking after me for a week. And sort of right at the end, he said, "Shall we just fuck each other's brains out?"
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was like, "Yeah."
yeah.
But
So we
when I
spent the
came
whole
away from that,
day.
it was real love. It was,
Yeah, you're
and
supposed
that's
to
so
spend the
weird.
whole day kind of having sex and
Yeah, it was so, obviously I don't write about all the different things I really did on that time away, because
mm.
but he was really quite profound.
Mm.
And he did this really weird thing of sort of writing down, unknown to me, things that I'd said over the week. So as we parted, I didn't put that in the book because, yeah,
Mm.
he sort of told me all the things that I'd said that kept the common themes of what I said.
Wow.
And yeah, he made me feel what it might be like to be with someone who sort of really cared for you and looked after you. Not that I'd been able to achieve that, but he gave me a sense of it.
I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, it was actually. It was, and it is true that you can really fall in love with somebody that you've just been with for a week and you won't see again.
Yes, it's a bit of it's sort of, I don't know. It's one of those things where you step out of time
Yeah, absolutely.
and it's just the two of you somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, it's lovely.
Yeah, it's blissful.
Yeah. Um, but actually when I went, I sort of thought, oh no, I'm going to not have sex because I'd been having loads of sex. That was not the point of going. I was like, I won't have sex. I'm going to have a break. So I was really good for about 7 months, and I had quite a lot of, because if you're on your own, men are, that surprised me by the fact that you don't have anyone sort of to look after you means that most men will sort of try it on. And that really surprised me. I'm like, your wife is swimming in the swimming pool
Oh God.
and you're going, how about it? So that was a bit awful. But there were, I met really nice men as well. But I was like, no, no, no. And then I was in the sea naked with someone and the moon rose. There was a moonrise. So
Mm,
he kind of said, look at the moon rising. And I don't know if you've seen a moonrise. It's just really weird because it just goes
mm.
so fast.
Yeah, it's really
And I
strange.
was like, oh, okay. So yeah, but I haven't really talked about that, and my kids might listen to this. So, but
Well,
yeah,
I'm sure
obviously from then on, I was,
they're aware of who you are on the planet, you know.
yeah, it's true.
Well, you were allowed to do this sort of stuff.
Well, there was no one there to witness it, so
Yeah, and it's
that's very liberating.
very liberating.
Yeah,
So this, we've not got massive time there, but the book, I really, it must have been difficult to write because, of course, you're in other people's. I mean, I know they're kind of amalgams heads, and some of them aren't very
yeah,
nice about the character.
like me.
Yeah, I mean, I
No,
think that's probably true as well. You know,
yeah,
I think that's what really I found really impressive is the capacity to write about that and actually see it through someone's eyes and actually, they find her annoying or like, what's this woman do? She's 52. What's she doing?
yeah. That was
Is
quite
she mad?
liberating.
Yeah.
That I think I am aware that I am quite annoying. I sort of self-annoy. That's something that happened. I'd be like, because I was with myself all the time. I was a bit like, "Oh god, I'm so fucking annoying." You know, you get self-annoyed.
Mm,
You're alone in a hotel room thinking, "Oh my god, I cannot believe you've lost whatever, that eyeliner or whatever." So yeah, I think I'm quite self-aware and that I was quite irritating to quite a lot of the guides that I met. And I could see it. I could see it in their face, like them going, "What the hell are you doing?" You know, you think you're being so adventurous, you're just being dangerous or
mm,
and with Locke, who was the Vietnamese guy,
mm,
he really did get annoyed with me
mm,
and he did nearly kill me. So that was real. That was a real thing that happened between us. And it actually made us really close because he was like, "Who the fuck are you?" And I was like, "Can you keep me alive? I'm a person. I am a person. I know
yeah.
you don't think I am."
Because I mean, it's really
Um,
because the relationships are really tricky. 'Cause there's a lot of vying over. Here's the white lady with the money, and I want to be her guide, and no, I want to be her guide, and she's mine, she's mine, and
yeah,
and then there's a you in it. I mean, I'm talking generally about travel. There's a you in it that I think sometimes steps aside and thinks, I don't really know who I am in this situation. I think I'm
yeah,
me, but they're seeing me very differently to how I see myself.
absolutely. And I think most travelers don't really think about the person that's guiding them. They don't think about their whole life. They just think about, are they ripping me off? Are they going to take me to the best places? Blah, blah, blah. And it's very transactional. But they also regard you as understandably, the money that they're going to get that day, that week.
Mm,
So it's not a good basis, but it is amazing when that breaks through and you suddenly think, "Oh my God, you're so stressed out
mm,
because it's tech and you've got to pay off the moneylender."
yes.
And they actually look at you and they're like, "Oh God, she has children, she has a life, she's loved." It's not just about the dollars that I can get today. Very understandable, the most basic transactional relationship. You know what it's like when you
Yeah.
arrive somewhere.
Yeah. So then you come back and so the bad map is the
Yeah,
map that's drawn of the jungle because we must go into what happens when you get back.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I try and break down, which I'm not sure, that's the only thing I'm not sure about, but I try and write about the day and how confusing and weird it was.
Mm.
Um, but also I had a job to do as a guide. So I think maybe it's very like we're going from A to B, blah, 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 because that's what it was like. It
This
was
is when you're in
very,
Calais,
yeah, in Calais.
and you've got this, the map is basically just to explain to people, if you get the book, you'll see it. It's sort of, I hadn't realized that there were sort of enclaves of people. There's
Of
Eritrea
different
here. There's,
nationalities,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So that map was drawn after I'd been arrested and I got a lawyer. And he said, "Can you draw a map?" Like the first time I met him, draw a map. And it's quite hard to draw a map it's just like, because there's tents here and there's blah, blah, blah. But what it is divided into nationalities.
Mm,
So I tried to do that. But then it became the court joke that
mm,
everyone was bound together. "Oh, this map's so crap," because it became part of not only the prosecution, but the defense evidence. And so, oh my God, the judge went on about it. Even my lawyer would go, "It's the worst map I've ever seen. It's the worst map in history." And I was a bit like, "Fuck's sake. I mean, I did it in like 1 minute. Can you give
yeah,
me
he
a
didn't
break?"
ask me. He wanted a kind of alternate survey map.
Exactly.
I
I
could
was
do
like,
it on the
"What?
back of a
You
napkin.
try doing that." Yeah, you try doing that for a refugee camp. So that was in my head, and I thought everywhere that I went, it was sort of it was map related. because I never had the SIM card, so I could never do sort of the usual Google Maps. So
Mm,
I was quite reliant on old-fashioned maps. So I thought, okay, um, that's a really good title, and that's something that binds it all up
yes,
together.
yes.
Um, but yeah, the court case was so bad. It was because my kids were absolutely terrified.
Mm.
Um,
They thought you were gonna you and what were you arrested for? What was the charge?
God, I can't remember exactly what it's called. Oh, I've got
Okay,
my
but it's
book here.
basically for aiding and abetting a refugee, isn't it?
It's it's people smuggling, really. Um,
Okay. Okay,
but
you're
yeah,
yeah.
there's no. Hang on. It is assisting unlawful immigration to member states, contrary to Section
Mm,
25 of the Immigration Act 1971.
mm,
Um, but yeah, uh,
mm,
and it's become as various governments have got harder and harder on
mm,
refugees and
mm,
migrants, it's become more serious crime. And I think what surprised me is that the judge was, yeah, so against us.
yes.
And I think it was xenophobia, sexism, you know, the policeman went as the women were talking. And it was just, both of these women were incredible women, absolutely amazing. Um,
Mm,
one was a biochemist,
mm,
one had fought for women's rights and worked with Hillary Clinton. And, just to see the way, and it was really interesting for me because my name is Italian and
mm,
they just saw us as a group of foreign women that were trying to do something wrong. We're all the same age. We're all mothers with kids the same age.
mm,
And, what I felt is, to be honest, I'd have been really glad to come back to London and lift the boot and the son to be in there and him to go off and live with his family
mm,
because any mother would do that.
mm,
Any mother would try and help their kid come and live with them, you know. So there was that, there was the humanity, we're all humans. And there was the sort of, it really felt like, the judge and the policeman were like these foreign women. They're not worth anything. It really felt awful. Um,
mm,
so yeah, it was in that way, it was good for me because I'd worked with refugee women for so long,
mm.
but I became one for that period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in the book, uh, and when you read it, it's shocking, really. And I know, I mean, I thought about it. I thought about you when I was reading the book. And I thought about how far out of our knowledge that is.
Yeah.
For most people, they it's really hard to think about, God, I could end up, you kind of think, well, that won't happen to me because I'm blah, 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 I live here and and I'm a sort of middle class sort of person. You kind of don't think you're going to end up in the dock being
No.
completely dismissed.
No, you really don't.
And you have no power. Your power. What I
No
feel about
power.
that is there's no power. There's no one there. You or the other two have any power.
Yeah, there's lots of my friends who were like, use your privilege. Like black friends would go, use your white privilege. And I'd go, oh, it's not really because I was perceived as part of them that there is no white privilege. In that situation, there just wasn't. In fact,
Mm.
he I was really hated because it was like,
If
what
it's
are you doing?
white bleeding heart.
Yeah, exactly. Awful, liberal, whatever.
Yeah, they hate people like
And
you.
yeah, I didn't have to do it. They had to flee, but
Yeah,
it's like,
you were
why am
just
I doing
on
it?
this do kind of ghastly Guardian reading do-gooders.
Exactly. That was the whole thing. And yeah, I mean, no, I suppose the work I did, you know, and being sent to Calais on the day of demolition,
Mm.
of course, there's always the risk of that. And terrible things happened that day, much worse than that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was, I tell you what was really eye-opening, and again, I feel that it's something that I've learned a lot from, is that if you are on the wrong side of the state and the state is against you, and I'd get letters saying Regina versus Sophia Radice, you'd get, you feel really shit. You also get your, which I didn't know this at all, but I suddenly start to get calls from debt collectors, and I go, what is this debt? What it was is the Home Office are making a sum, like an arbitrary sum, that the court will cost,
What?
and you have to pay your court debt. And I was like, but I don't know when the court case is going to be. What is this sum? And they were saying, it's been sold to us, you have to pay us. And they'd ring me up every morning at 8:30, to the point where I just felt desperate, and I mean, I come from a middle class family, and I started to think, are they doing that to the other women? Because it's terrifying.
And how are they supposed to pay? How's anyone
How
supposed
are
to
they
pay?
supposed to pay? Anyway, I mean,
Right. So it's
it
really
was
like an
awful.
underbelly that
They
we
had
guys
to
don't.
pay me back, but I had to borrow that money to pay that debt that hadn't even happened. And then they had to pay me back. And you know, when I was found not guilty. But
Oh my God.
yeah, I mean, you feel my confidence was really knocked. I just kind of thought no one will want me to work with them ever again. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it just made me feel, it's a really odd sensation. And you feel, I don't know, that you're a bit of a liability, that happened to you, or
Mm.
that I didn't do my job properly that day because I was meant to guide everyone through safely, you know. So yeah, it's quite a weird time, but I managed to sort of claw my way back into employment, and then that's fine. I've got the really interesting job now, but yeah, for a time it was, my confidence was really knocked. Yeah. And in real life, the mother did get sent down, and so it sort of meant that you didn't really celebrate because one of you had got sent down. So yeah.
So thank you so much for talking to us. We've got to finish up. We could go on forever. It's fascinating.
God.
So I know.
Thank you.
So if people, I'm just going to wave. I'm just going to. Hopefully, well, actually, this is audio, but hopefully, we'll have a clip. So if that hasn't come in the clip, I'll put it in the on
Well, you can
Instagram.
buy it from Amazon.
Yeah, the year above. I think it's a brilliant book. Really do think you're a brilliant writer.
Oh,
Really
thank
do.
you. God, that's so nice of you.
It's one of the few, quite often I read people's books and I'm just really aware of them. So I'm not in it. I was totally in it. I haven't finished it yet. I'm nearly at the end. I'm really in it. And even though I know it's you, I think it's done really well. And I'm totally buying other people's voices. I think it's a really clever way of doing it.
Oh,
I
thank
don't
you.
I don't mean clever, clever. I mean it's just a very interesting way of doing it, that you're in their world,
Yeah.
looking at this woman who's traveling around the world, kind of, doing whatever she's doing.
And I suppose the hope bit of it is that, people can be very loving towards each other, you know,
Mm.
and that lots of the people I met really protected me and
Yes. And I think that,
just
you know, the whole court case into, because I think what people get is fatigue. They've kind of got refugee
yeah,
fatigue because it's so out of people's comfort zone to be like, oh, you know, I don't know.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's scary. And I think it brings up a lot of issues about the experience of basically being taken to court and
yeah.
facing jail.
But also that sort of thing can happen to anyone, you know, I
Yes.
don't know.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
can. If you work in anything
Yeah.
remotely, there's all if you decide to put yourself out to help someone and yeah, I think
Yes,
it's very timely.
there's a bit about when kindness isn't perceived as kindness.
Yeah, yeah.
So go and buy the book, everybody. And in fact, do you want people to find you? If they want to find you, how would they find you? Or are you quite happy?
Uh, at the moment, it's selling in sort of tiny bookshops and on Amazon, so
Yeah, so
go to
I'd go and
Amazon.
order it from your local bookshop because we're very, you know, we're very, very keen on supporting our local bookshops here on
Yeah,
Have Extraordinary Relationships. Or order it from Amazon, but
I'm
buy
afraid.
it, read it, and
Yeah,
so we all know. Great. Thank you so much, Sophie. Thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
thank you.